Hi everyone, Assalamu alaikum. So today I decided to make a vlog on how my pregnancy and birth experience was in Turkey. You know, how it was like to have a baby in Turkey. So we actually got a lot of questions for the past few months, and we thought that we would just make one video one and for all, and just talk about my entire experience, starting from how I found the doctor and ending to getting the baby's legal documents done. And basically I'm going to cover what the process here looks like, at least what the process here was like for me here in Antalya as an expat who does not speak Turkish, um, and also how the experience was, and just general thoughts, so that if you or someone you know is having a baby in Turkey, you are better prepared for what to expect. I'm going to break this down section by section so it's easier. So the first step, obviously, was finding a doctor. We did not know enough people here to ask for references or recommendations. And also, because this was such a personal matter, I preferred to do my own research, to be honest. So, finding a doctor, I turned to Google. So what I did was I wanted to make sure, because we didn't have a car back then. So I wanted to make sure that whoever it was, their clinic was or hospital was nearby. So anyway, I went on Google Maps specifically, and also Google, and I just searched for doctors nearby, and then I read reviews in various places, but specifically on Google. The Google reviews, those are very helpful, and I read all of them. And then most doctors here also have a website, so you can sort of gauge, how they are, basically who they are and how they are, what their qualifications are, etc., how many years of experience they have, so just the basic stuff. Anyway, so I shortlisted a few of them. We lived in Konyaaltı, so a few of them near where we lived. And oh yeah, and one important thing that I looked for in the reviews were whether these doctors spoke English. So sometimes, actually most of the times, the review at the top is mostly English. So, and it's mostly people saying that, we had a really good experience and the doctor spoke English. So that's it. So anyway, I shortlisted a few doctors, and I got their numbers off Google, and then I WhatsApped them, obviously, because I'm still not sure, because normally the people who pick up at the other end are not the doctors, they're the receptionists or the assistants, and they don't usually speak English. And that I expected, but that's fine. So I WhatsApped them directly, and I asked their prices, and I compared the prices, and then I found one that I found was, was a reasonable price, because others were honestly too expensive. People who speak English here and deal with foreigners, they're just charging too much. So once I finalized my doctor, it was time to schedule a visit. So she was very nice. My doctor was Dr. Sanai. She is in Altencombe, and she was so nice. Very responsive. Got me an appointment the very next day. Overall, my experience was really good. Like, I mean, when you're, in it for the long run, the pregnancy, when you're dealing with a doctor during pregnancy, it's like she's with you for 9 months, and maybe even, after. So it's like a very big commitment, at least for me it was. So I really wanted to be sure that I was comfortable with this doctor, and I really was. She was really nice. And she spoke English well. That was a really big plus. And she was patient, and she answered all my questions, because, normally during this time you have so many questions that you want to ask, and you're also sort of afraid of annoying the person in front of you or coming across as too dumb or something. But she was really nice. The one really good thing that I noticed, that I've also noticed with other doctors here in Turkey, is that they're available on WhatsApp like all the time. It's not like you have to go to them, to ask for advice or something for every small little thing. But especially if it's a doctor that you're going regularly to, they're always available on WhatsApp. Obviously, she was a little expensive, because she's in an expensive area. She's catering to foreigners. But, the good thing is she had a private clinic, and private clinics are generally expensive, more expensive than public hospitals. But it was a very nice clinic. It felt really comfortable inside. And the biggest plus point that I noticed, because after we have also visited hospitals here in Turkey, is that it was never crowded, honestly. And you get, special treatment, you get full attention, and that's a really nice thing to experience. There are no queues, you're never waiting, because on WhatsApp a few days before they give you an appointment, and you just go on your appointment and everything's really smooth. Anyway, so also one really interesting thing that I noticed in Turkey is that they have ultrasounds at every visit. At least my doctor did ultrasounds at every visit. It was included in her per visit charge. Now, this is something, because I talked to all my friends and family, this is something that nobody experienced except those in Turkey. Like, you have ultrasound scheduled in the beginning and then in the middle of your pregnancy and towards the end, something like that. Overall, like 3-4 maximum, unless it's a high risk case. But here, every month, and especially towards the end, it's like every 2 weeks. So that was cool, actually. I mean, I asked her beforehand, like, is it dangerous or something? Because I had concerns. And then she was like, no, it's not dangerous. So I was like, okay. And then the good thing was every month she also gave me, and by the way, they had like 4D ultrasound machines. She had 4D ultrasound machine, which was, I basically saw my baby in 4D and moving. Like, it's video. 4D is video. 4D is basically 3D with video. Anyway, so it was really cool. And at the end of every visit, she also gave me like snapshots. She took really nice pictures. I don't know when she did it, like randomly when the baby was moving about. She took really nice pictures, and then she also gave them to me. So that's cool. Now let's move on to the third section, which was actually giving birth. Now, so these private doctors usually work with hospitals. And my doctor also worked with a hospital, which was Vitale Hastanesi. It was in Kepez. So what we did was, actually, she told us this beforehand, and we had to pay her fee, and then we also had to pay at the hospital for the room and for the room basically, and the stay, overnight stay. Anyway, so before, my due date, when it was approaching, we actually went and checked it out beforehand, and we saw how close it was to the house, because we wanted to be sure if in an emergency we wanted to not struggle with the route going there. So we just wanted to be sure, okay, we know the way. Anyway, so it was not that far away. I think it was like 15 minutes away from our house maximum. When it was time, I was actually a week overdue, and I called my doctor and we went to the hospital. We checked ourselves in. They had us sign the forms and everything, and she also arrived after a few hours. I kept asking, like, when she'll come, but she did. And then she actually stayed with me throughout, which was really nice of her. And I also got an epidural, which came at an additional cost, obviously. It was not too expensive. I think it was maximum 1,000 TL or 500 TL. I can't remember exactly now. There was a lot going on. Anyway, so one interesting thing that I did not like was that, so the entire time, during 9 months, we had an agreement that my husband would be present. And we were obviously planning for normal delivery, but even during, if there had to be a C-section, which, by the way, I had a C-section in an emergency, but it was agreed that my husband would be there. But at the last minute, the surgery was at 7 p.m. and they were like, no, the husband will not be allowed because the surgery is at night. And I don't know, I was really confused, because at that time, you're not in a position to argue, right? And they don't even speak English that well, the nurses and everyone. So they did not let my husband inside, so that was a bummer. But everything was good, alhamdulillah. The surgery was quick, the baby was out and healthy and safe, alhamdulillah. And I even recovered fast, like, alhamdulillah. So this is overlapping with the birth section, but this is like the general hospital experience. So what I thought about the hospitals here, at least that hospital that I experienced. I mean, it was a really nice hospital. We had a private room and everything. But the problem is that not all the nurses spoke English. I think there was only 1 or 2 that spoke a little English, and they were very helpful. But overall, they were very helpful. But I mean, I would have liked more help with, latching and breastfeeding. But in some hospitals, even in like Pakistan, they have a class. But here, they were just like, just call us if you need help. And then they were like all the way over there, and I have to send my husband out of the room every single time to like call them in the middle of the night, because obviously the baby is waking up every hour or something. So that was a little difficult, especially because I did not have a lot of family here. But anyway, they made me walk 2 hours after the surgery, and which was good. It was harsh, but it was good. And they also gave us some baby products for free, like diaper changing cream, diapers. And although we did get our diapers and everything beforehand in a bag, but they did give us stuff as well. Also helped us with the basics, like how to change a diaper, burping, feeding, everything. And then they also gave us the birth certificate and a vaccination booklet, sort of. So they called it a vaccination card, but it's actually a booklet that you take to your pediatrician later. And I stayed there for 2 nights. They monitored my blood pressure, and then I went home with my family. So the last section is baby's legal documents. So if the parents are not Turkish citizens, the baby is not automatically born a Turkish citizen, even if they're born in Turkey. They are still, citizens of the country that the parents are from. So this means that the baby needs a residence permit, and for that she needs a passport. So I mean, obviously the entire process depends on your nationality, but we as Pakistanis, we had to first apply for her national identity card, which for overseas Pakistanis, which we did online. And then we applied for her passport. For that, we had to go to the embassy in Ankara. There's actually an online system in place that does not work properly because I don't know, there was something wrong with the fingerprints, but we had to go to Ankara to apply for her passport. And then it came after, I think, 15 days, her passport arrived. And then, oh yeah, by the way, before her national identity card, before applying for that, we actually had to take the hospital birth certificate to Nufus. And then they gave us a birth certificate based on that birth certificate, because apparently at the hospital they don't put the father's name on the birth certificate, only the mother's name, and for our country we needed a birth certificate with both the parents' name. And then anyway, once her passport arrived, we will apply for a residence permit, and yeah, that's a story for another day because we haven't done that yet. So yeah, this was my entire experience with having a baby in Turkey. Honestly, it was much better than I expected. I mean, I was really worried that I would struggle because I don't know the language and I don't know anything about how things are done here. But to be fair, I didn't even know how things were done in Pakistan too. So it was like all new to me. So I just took it all in, and I think it was good. I would have liked it, obviously, if more people spoke English. But then that's just a battle here living in Turkey. Like nobody speaks English. But yeah, my doctor was there. She was checking up on me every few minutes, every hour or so. So that was good. So thank you so much for watching. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to comment or send us a DM or an email. And we would love to answer you, help you out. Thank you. Bye bye.